By the time you come to this section, you should already know what is the prime number, what is the composite number, and you should also recognize, you should also be able to do something with what we call index notation. Okay, so this one is a very big word, prime factorization. So what does this whole big word means, right? It is a process. That means there are the methods. So in this uh, section, there are two methods. There are two methods for prime factorization. So prime factorization is the process of expressing a composite number. So we're going to change out a composite number into a product of prime factors. So essentially, what does that mean, right? So if you got a composite number, you are going to use the two methods that I'm going to teach you to make it into something like index notation. So there can be more than one prime factors. So, and all these numbers here are supposed to be prime factors. So that is the meaning of prime factorization. So we are going to change out a composite number. And when we change out the composite number, we are going to change it into prime factors. But it will come with power. Okay, we will not be able to do that for prime numbers because prime numbers, we don't have a lot of factors. Okay, so so if you look at this example, I chose 150. So the instruction is like this. I express 150 as a product of prime factors. So you realize they don't use the word prime factorization, but the statement of a product of prime factor is the same meaning as prime factorization. So it's the same thing, but they phrase it differently. So in math, later on, you realize that there are same thing, but they phrase it in a different way or in a different name. So the first method is called a branch method. So we branch it like this. So for example, from 150. So you should start thinking from the smallest prime number. So just now we went through a list of prime numbers. So if you want to, you can use a guideline. You can write out the prime numbers. No need to write a lot. You just write the basic few. So the first thing will be, right, when I branch out, if I use 2 as a prime factor, it will be 2 times 75. So it's something like this. 150 is equal to 2 times 75. This is already a prime number, so don't touch it anymore. Then you are supposed to change the 75 one more time. So 75 is 3 times 25. You can use your calculator. So I'm using the second prime number. So it will be 3 times 25. And this is already a prime number. Okay, so don't touch already. So go to this part. So you should divide by 5. So the 2 prime numbers that you already gotten, you don't touch. So you change out the 25. So 25 is 5 times 5. So you realize I keep changing it up until all these are prime numbers. So when everything are prime numbers already, you do your index notation. So that is the prime factorization of 150. Or this is to answer the question of express 150 as a product of the prime factors. So you should also use calculator to check. So check calculator. Check that you go and key this into your calculator. You should get back 150. Don't be surprised. Sometimes you may not get back the same number. That means you make a careless mistake in your branch method. So you keep branching out until everything becomes a prime number. Okay, so this one, some students like this method. Okay, and the second method is a ladder method. So this one is more commonly used. The ladder method is very easy. So you start off with 150. Okay, you look at the list of prime number. So you should start off with 2 first. So when you start off with 2, 150 divided by 2, you get a 75. You don't have the mental, you just use calculator. Then the next one, 75, cannot be divided by 2. You go on to the next prime number. So you divide by 3. So you press 75 divided by 3. It will give you a 25. Then you go on to the next prime number. So you divide 25 by 5. You get a 5. So you keep on dividing until you get a 1. Until you get a 1, you cannot divide anymore. So until you get a 1, you cannot divide anymore. This part here will be the prime factorization. So this part will be 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. So you see, all these are prime numbers. So you do your index notation. So how am I going to give the answer? The answer will be 150 equal to this. So when you answer the question, okay, you don't just write something like this. Okay, don't just write like this. Because if you just write like this, right, then I will have a question mark. What is this for? So this is actually for 150. So you must make some sense of it. So they are asking you for the prime factorization of 150. Your answer will be 150 is equal to blah, 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 blah. So your answer will look like this format. So when we say prime factorization or express as a prime factors, okay, this will be the format of your answers. Okay, so between these two methods, this is your choice. There's no wrong method. I personally will be doing method 2. Sometimes I will do method 1, sometimes I will do mental. So it's your choice. Okay, so you can think about, after doing a few questions, you can decide what is actually your favorite method.